Thank you for tuning in to another video with Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I am Danielle. I am a relationship and femininity coach. And my goal is to help both men and women be in relationships that's best for them. I often say there's two reasons why if you're a woman, you're in a relationship that's not ideal for you. It's because you're in a relationship longer than you need to be in, or you're not unlocking your feminine energy. So you're not being feminine enough. So today we're going to talk about how to unlock your feminine energy, a step-by-step guide right after this.
We live in a world where femininity, marriages, family, and courting is no longer valued. We live in hookup culture, situationships, and struggle love. The number one reason women struggle in long-term relationships, number one, femininity, and number two, staying in a relationship or entertaining people longer than the woman should.
My name is Danielle DeVita, and I'm a relationship and femininity coach. I've been married for 12 years, and I want to help you get on your feminine journey and vet for the right man today. For more of my content, you can visit mrsdanielledevita.com, or you can go to YouTube, Instagram, or my Facebook page. Get on your feminine journey today. A lot of times people think that when you are feminine, you are someone who is weak. You are someone who, cannot speak and be confident. A lot of times people think, her man does all the talking for her. She doesn't really say much. She's silent. She doesn't speak. Now, I often talk about there is power in silence. So if I'm saying, do not say anything, do not speak, and at certain times, it's not to close your mouth like you have no opinions and things like that, but it's to say that sometimes if you move in silence, it's very powerful and you're saying a lot, because actions do speak louder than words. So you can talk all day long, but sometimes it's what you don't say. It's how you conduct yourself that's very powerful. So if you haven't noticed, I am someone who speaks her mind. I literally have a YouTube channel. So I'm not weak. I am confident. I say what needs to be said. So if it doesn't need to be said, then I won't say it. So those were some of the things about, a lot of times people think, okay, if you're feminine, you're probably soft-spoken, or you're not speaking at all. You're not confident and things like that, and you don't have an opinion. But that's not so. So I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on how you can unlock your feminine energy today. The first thing I would say is being receptive. A lot of times you hear people say receiving, receiving, receiving. But receptive it has many facets, not just, someone who receives things. You have your hand out and then you ask and you get it. That could be one component of it. But being receptive is also being receptive of criticism, constructive criticism, of course, not people just beating you up and you're taking it in. But when people are providing their input, their thoughts, that you take it in so you can learn for your personal growth. Feminine women also want to have personal growth. They want to be better, to be the best version of themselves. And I say that often. Both men and women should be the best version of themselves. So if you want to be the best version of yourself, you need to be receptive for those who are providing you that input in order to be the best version of yourself, including content like mine. Not necessarily me, but it can be anyone who's providing content for you to do and be better. So if you want to get started, the very first thing to even unlocking your feminine energy is being receptive to things that are positive or that's going to help you in your personal growth, your personal brand. That includes not just your outer image, but your inner image, like your mindset, right? Your spirit world. So you want to make sure that you're not just saying, oh, I'm going to meditate, but no, you actually take the time to look at how you can be a better person, how you can experience inner peace, how you can deliver peace, be a peacemaker, and how you can help others, empower others to be better. It starts with yourself. It starts with healing, right? And all of that is part of being receptive to people, opening up your ears, open up your eyes to things that people are trying to tell you that's going to help you be better, right? So that's it for one, being receptive. Number two is very powerful, because this again goes to people being combative. A lot of people say if you are masculine, which means you're not being in your feminine or predominantly being in your feminine state, you're combative, you're arguing a lot, you like to argue. And a lot of people ask me, do you like to argue? You know, someone having a legal background, but although I may like to argue when we are doing a debate or if it's a trial or anything like that, that's all well and good. But there's still ways that you can be collaborative, right? So wanting to collaborate, a lot of times you'll see this at work, in your relationships. These are the biggest times you're going to see that. Basically, it's working well with others. And relationship doesn't just have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a friendship, relationships with friends and family, and then relationships at work, business partners, all these things. These are going to be the best ways to see if you can collaborate with others. Yes, you may be one who works well by yourself, which I'm one. I can work well by myself, but I can work well with others. So when I'm in a group or a partnership or on a team, people can work with me and they like working with me. I provide good input and I can assist. So you don't have to always be on the lead and you don't have to hush your mouth all the time. You provide input, but give others the opportunity to say, have a safe space, right? And that's going to be the biggest thing when you are trying to cultivate this feminine energy. Learning how to collaborate with others. Not be combative, not always be in opposition, not being a contrarian all the time. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion. There's nothing wrong with having your thoughts. There's nothing wrong with even disagreeing with someone. But how you do it and how well you work with others. If you had a disagreement one time, it doesn't mean that you're not feminine. But if everywhere you go, people don't like working with you, then you may want to consider, can I work well with others? And what energy am I giving off? Why am I not collaborating well with others? Why is there not peace when I'm collaborating with others? And again, this could be collaborating whether you're co-parenting with your child's father, because I'm talking to women here. If you are collaborating with your partner, so whether you're married or not, how are you collaborating overall with your friends and family? How well do you collaborate with business people at work or at business, right? So that's very important. And if you can start with that, that'll be the second step to help you move into your feminine energy. To collaborate, it's going to take two other traits. It's going to take empathy, and it's going to take a nurturing spirit. What I mean by that is nurturing is, well, let me start with empathy first. Empathy means you can see yourself in other people's shoes. So it may not be what you would do. It may not be your decision, but you are receptive. That's part of being receptive. You're receptive to what other people are saying. You can see their point of view and then, provide empathy, not sympathy. So you're not having pity on them, but you are feeling how you can understand trying to understand where they come from. Of course, if you're not always in their shoes, you're not going to understand where everyone is coming from, but you can try. So then that takes away the judgmental side of it. It takes away the haughtiness, the proud side, but you can kind of humble yourself a little bit because that's what it's going to take to have empathy. The other side that I was saying, besides the empathy, is nurturing. So, it starts with children. How are you with children? But how are you also with others? Are you someone who's a giver? So as I talked about receiving, it's not all about just taking, but how are you in caring for others? Can you care about this coworker that's going through some things? Or are you harsh and brutal and to the point? And so again, that kind of coincides with empathy. But are you caring? Are you a caring person? If you were to ask someone, could you see me as being a caring person? And see what they say. Sometimes if you're caring. Are you someone who's like, look, everyone goes through trouble. Suck it up, woman up, man up. Because there's some women that tell their men, man up, to the point that that other person can't have feelings or be emotional. And I'm not just saying men, but sometimes you may do this to your children, where they can't express emotion, where you don't give people, even not just your children, not just your partner, but anyone around you does not have a safe space to speak or provide their thoughts and input. So it is important to be nurturing and have empathy. That's going to help unlock your collaborative spirit. So knowing how to collaborate with others, not always disagreeing with others, is essential. Also, another way to unlock your feminine energy is seeing the beauty in things. Sometimes when you see the beauty in things, you smile more. When you can find peace in things, when you can find happiness, when you can just see just how beautiful a day it is outside. When I was younger, I used to not like when it rains. Oh my God, it's such a bad day. It rains, it rains, it rains. But it wasn't until we had our own home where I loved when it rained, because then our grass, then our flowers would grow better. Yes, you can turn on the sprinklers, but it seems like it grows better. It seems you save on water as far as putting your sprinklers on. You save on those things whenever it rains. And I think sometimes someone could be having a drought, and you need rain if you're trying to come into a harvest. You need rain. Farmers need rain. So they've learned to appreciate rain. Of course, you may not always want it to rain, but you definitely don't want it to be a drought. So when you learn to appreciate some things, you see the beauty of it, right? When you see the beauty of having children, when you see the beauty of, taking care of your children, because sometimes people say, I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to do this. But sometimes it feels so good to be able to do these things for the people you love. And when you see the beauty in just waking up, when you see the beauty, basically being optimistic, seeing the positive side of things, it makes you smile. It makes you happy. And then you won't necessarily have that resting bee face. You won't look, irritated and upset. So that is going to be very important. A huge step in unlocking your feminine energy, seeing the beauty in things. It makes you want to smile. Yes, there's bad in this world. I promise you. I read about it. I see it. I hear it. I've even had, I've even dealt with situations and cases that I've come across. Like, oh, this is so unfortunate. This is sad. It makes me want to come home, kiss my babies. It makes me want to come home, kiss my husband, because unfortunately, some people lose their children. Unfortunately, some people lose, their spouse. People get hurt. People's life is cut short. And when you see these cases and then you come home, then you would think twice before you pout, before you whine, before you see the negative side of things, because it could be much worse. Another thing, so number three, or is this number three? I know we talked about 4, so we're on 4. So we talked about being receptive, collaborating, and then I gave you 2 traits to help you be better at collaborating, which is nurturing and empathy. And then I said 4 is seeing the, or 3, seeing the beauty. And so number 4, being graceful, right? So when you are graceful, I guess sometimes people could say being soft, but I think they can kind of coincide. Some people are saying, the soft life, because they're saying you're not being so hard and always ripping and running. You're kind of coasting and relaxing. That's beautiful. But graceful is a form of that. And graceful in your words, I think, is important, because a lot of times when you think of graceful, you think of how you move. You move softly. You move, right? Very slowly. You're gliding, right? But you also, even though it's important to be graceful in your walk, I think it's important to be graceful in your words. Sometimes people say things and it's abrupt, it's rough around the edges. And if you take the time to think before you speak, it makes it easier to be graceful in your words. How you're speaking, the tone and how you're speaking, all of these are important. They're imperative, because when you're graceful, it means you're being mindful. And when you're mindful, you're making sure you're in the mindset of having that feminine energy, because you can be emotional. However, but when you're mindful, it makes your emotions to be intact, because as women, we're emotional, so we can go off on our feelings. But when you're mindful, it allows you to be graceful in how you say things, because you don't want to say things below the belt and then it comes across harsh and abrupt. Then you're stepping into your masculine. You want to be the person who is like, you know what, I'm going to be cool, calm, and collected. but it takes you being mindful. You got to think about it. You can't just go off and do it. You got to think about the things that you say, and you got to think about your actions. That's huge. And being a lady in general, right? You want to act like a lady, and you can't do that when you just popping off at the mouth, popping off in your actions just because you were in your feelings. So if you could start with these little things like this, wow, people will see a change, especially if you were someone who was negative Nancy. Now you're seeing the beauty in things. You're being optimistic. Now you can work well with others. You're not always, arguing. And so going back to collaborating, I mention this often, and this is what's helped me with conflict in my marriage. There's no need to have an argument about a situation that is not going to compromise the trust in your relationship, is not going to compromise your integrity, it is not going against your standards, and it's not something that's immoral, illegal, or anything like that. So when my husband says, can you do this, can you do that? Why do I need to have an argument? Is he telling me to do something that compromises trust? Is he having me do something that's unethical, that's going to have me losing, my integrity? Is it going to be something that is shameful, illegal, wrong, and that's not morally right, that's not according to my standards? No, if it's not, then what's the big fuss about it? Right? Now, can we have discussions about a situation? Yeah. But sometimes we argue about the smallest thing, and it's like, why are we arguing about this? Why? You don't have to argue about everything. You don't have to argue about which way we should take to get to this destination. We don't have to argue about the color of this particular thing. We don't have to argue about minute and trivial things. Let's focus our energy on things that we will need to discuss later on. All right. So when you change that, oh my God, people will see, oh my gosh, she's easy to get along with. Oh my gosh, she sees the beauty in things. Oh my God, she's nurturing, she's caring, she has empathy. Oh my God, she's peaceful. So I think that if you understand the word feminine energy, understand energy is not just a doing. You're not just doing something to be feminine. You're not just putting on a skirt or a dress. You're not just fixing your hair up. Yes, those are feminine things, but did you know that someone could have a dress on, be very beautiful, and be masculine in their behavior? So when I say feminine energy, so this is why I say the term energy, because if you want to use a different term, you can say your aura, your I don't know, maybe your the spirit that you're carrying around you. When people are around you, they want to feel, basically you want to be a magnet. That's one of the last things. So I'll say that. So one of the last things is being a magnet. A magnet is someone where people are gravitating. You bring people closer to you. They don't want to be away from you. They like your energy. They like being around you. They like your aura. They like your spirit. They like that about you. So there's something about you that wants to bring people closer. Have you seen people who children love to be around this particular person? They have some type of spirit that the children love being around. And then you have some things where you get close to a person or close to a certain place and you're like, that don't feel right. And you leave. So that's where some people have that negative energy and no one wants to be around you, even before you open your mouth. So the goal is to be a magnet. You want to bring people closer to you and love to be around you. So to do that, you're going to have to make sure that your energy is right. You have to make sure that you are putting off, right, this aura of peace, this aura of happiness. Now, there are going to be times when you're sad, and that's okay. But when you are generally a loving person, people gravitate to that. So think about that. So in all those things that I mentioned that's going to help you unlock that feminine energy, think about the actual term energy. When you are stepping out of your home, what type of spirit is around you? If you're a faith-based person, pray. Listen to gospel before you leave the house. That'll put a spirit on you that is good. It's going to already set the tone for the day. I like to start that off early in the morning because it does set the tone for the day. And a lot of people don't realize music and the things that you watch can also create a spirit. Even things that you watch on YouTube. So if you're watching stuff that's always sad or gloomy or that gets you riled up, especially when you listen to people talk about relationships. It can always put you in a irritable attitude. So try watching things that are positive and loving and peaceful, and that spirit will get on you, and you'll be able to present that out in the world. Think about the time when you're sad and you listen to sad music. It helps you be more sad. But think about the time where you were sad and you listened to music that was happy. It either made you happy or you decided you didn't want to listen to it because it wasn't indicative of how you were feeling at the time. I say to myself, the day I feel my worst, I used to dress how I felt. But on the days I feel my worst, I actually dress up extra special because then it would change how I feel. Sometimes I wear more colorful things when I want to feel like the color that I'm wearing. So if I'm wearing something like this magenta color, then that makes me feel happy and loving, and cheerful. So these are youthful. Yellow is youthful color. Pink is a bold, and this type of pink is a bold, beautiful color. And you want to wear colors that makes you feel like how you're feeling or how you want to feel. So if you're feeling in the negative and you want to feel happy, then that's what you'll need to do. So I hope that this helps you on your journey. Of course, the journey is like never ending because you're always going to be trying to find ways to be more feminine, especially when you're dealing with conflict. Especially when you're dealing with conflict, this is where a lot of this feminine energy is going to kick in. It's easy to have feminine energy, positive feminine energy when you are in a good mood, when there's nothing going on, when you're just sitting back coasting. But imagine when you're presented with conflict. Maybe someone is yelling at you, there's an argument, or you got to hustle and bustle, or you got to be moving and doing. How can you still be in your feminine energy? And these are going to be some of the things. Now, if you're in a workplace, there's a whole set of videos for that. But part of that I mentioned about collaborating. How are you with your team? Are you collaborating with your team? If you're in management, are you nurturing? Are you empathetic? Or are you cutthroat? Right? Are you someone who sees the beauty in things or always seeing the negative? Now, as someone who is analytical like myself, I feel like I'm a realist. I can see the beauty in things, but I can also be realistic, right? I can see the silver lining, but I can see things for how it is. But I don't have to always see the negative. I don't. These things are a choice. So no matter, how you say, oh, I'm a Virgo, I'm this, I'm that, you still have a choice to change your course of action and how you think about things. So, all right, I hope this video helped you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mrs. Danielle DeVita. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. It is free. Follow me on social media. I am on IG, I am on TikTok, and I'm on Facebook as well. All right, so thanks for tuning in. Check out my book on my website. It's mrsdanielledevita.com. I have a book, Command Respect from the Woman You Want. Check that out. Take care. Mrs. Danielle DeVita back with another video. I overheard someone say that marriage is overrated. A lot of women say, I like the strong silent type. Well, a lot of men like the feminine silent type. And for sure, it's going down. So a lot of times people are not getting the value. When to speak and when to be quiet is one of the most powerful. She's going to be aggressive, thinking that. And as someone who's been married for 12 years, she's driven, not lazy. And this will make yourself and get on the right path. That understand that you might be doing a disservice to your daughter. If you don't help her understand vetting and proper decision making, now she's going to be a basket case later. If you don't help her understand emotional intelligence, she's going to hold on to a lot of emotional baggage. If you don't